Friedland, and I'm here at 4-String Ranch today. We're going to talk about bass texture. All right, so the idea is you plug a bass into an amp and you're going to get a sound depending on the instrument and the amp and the room and all these variable factors. But there's a lot of things that we can do to change the vibe, the tone, the timbre, but ultimately I call it texture because it takes a bunch of things into account. There's density, there's width, there's attack, sustain, the decay. There's all these, variable factors that we have control over with just our two hands. It's easy to get wrapped up in tweaking the amp and active electronics and messing with all of this stuff. But the most significant tone tool you have is this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a simple line, simple quarter note pattern, and I'm going to show you a few ways that we can change the texture of the line drastically just with placement of the left hand, placement of the right hand, and combining the two things. And I'm not even talking yet about, using things like a pick or artificial muting techniques, just, the open instrument as it was. So here's our simple metronome drum beat. There's nothing else going on here. And the line we're going to play is the simple boogie-woogie pattern, in the key of C, the people's key. We are all geniuses in the key of C. So, all right, so here's the idea. Placement in the left hand, where I play these notes on the bass, has a big effect on the tone that I produce. Not just tone, but note density and texture. Listen for if you were to look at it visually, imagine what it might look at as a waveform. So the first way I might do it is open G, using my open position, and that has a sound like this. Starting from the middle, which is, over the pickup. That's pretty standard straight ahead. Now I can change that just with how I approach it from the right hand. If I play more on the tips, more of an upstroke as opposed to pushing down. But then we get into placement of the right hand. So this is like my default. The hand goes here, and this is the money zone for me, which is why everybody takes the ashtray off. But we go up here, and now you get a completely different texture. I can go even further. Now the polar opposite would be to go all the way down here. You can hear it's completely different texture. Is one right? Is one wrong? No. They both serve different purposes. They both will interact with the ensemble you're playing with in a different way. And these are the things that we think about when I'm stuck playing. There's not a lot to think about there, but what I do pay attention to is texture, among other things, because it's a significant effect. Now, another way we can change that is get off the open strings and start moving the notes up the neck. If I play the C here still, instead of going to this E, well, no, let's get rid of the open G, but I'm going to play this E up here. And then that sets me up for this G, that A, and the C here. So I've changed the location of the E, the G, and the A. And again, in the three zones. Now up here. I'll go up even further and turn on the side like an upright bass player. Now I'll go back down here. Now, another significant thing is to just change positions altogether, because this C has a certain texture. This C, you obviously can hear the difference, right? I hope you can hear the difference. It's darker, it's woollier, there's less high end, there's more overtones, it's got more boom. I call it bass factor. And that is a big element in texture. Texture is about, you know, this is a thicker texture, and this is thinner. That's the whole point. So again, we'll play it this way, lay it out this way. Up here. Down here. When you play down here, you get a clarity that invites you to play more notes. Use that with care. I mean, you know, if you want to play notes, if you want to solo, you want to get more notes in there. If you play where the string is tighter, if I tried that up here, it gets like all mumbly. So the string, it's just like too floppy. So that's why we play down here. Use this for a good reason. All right, so the next way I might play this would be in the standard, you know. You can hear with all of these different placements of the line, right hand and left hand, it changes the texture. It doesn't change the content. It changes, it doesn't change necessarily the rhythm. What it changes is the density of the note, the size of the waveform. If you've ever looked at your bass notes in a digital audio workstation and you look at the waveform, you can play a note in one spot of the neck, play the same note in another spot. Because of the harmonic content that's being recorded, they look different. There is a correlation visually with what you see in a waveform with what we hear. So that's what I got to tell you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and please subscribe to the 4-String Ranch YouTube channel. If you want to find out more about me, check out my YouTube channel. It's called The Bass Whisperer. You can also find me writing for Bass Magazine. You can find them online at bassmagazine.com. I tour worldwide with a band called The Mavericks, so please check us out at themavericksband.com. If we're playing in your town, please come on down. All right, thank you. Till next time, keep your standards low.